This video is going to go over my Master League draft battles for round 2 against Random. So last time he beat me pretty bad, and I was a little frustrated about it. That Togekiss I just didn't deal with well. So for the second round, we're able to replace a pick on our team, and I replaced Hariyama with Entei, basically specifically for this battle. So Entei has some pretty good matchups against most of his team. I thought it would be pretty good to pick. This is the moveset I went with. Flamethrower and Overheat might seem kind of redundant, but depending on when I'm using it, how much health I have, etc., it makes sense to use one or the other. So for the first game, I led Raikou with Entei and Giratina in the back. Now, this very first battle, we actually played through once, and I won, but he had a lot of lag, so we went through it again. And that's kind of weird because it's like we both saw each other's whole team, so I was like, oh shit, like I hope this still goes how I want it to. So my plan here is that I don't shield the first Dark Pulse, and I'm counting Snarl so I know that it's Dark Pulse and not Focus Blast or something. And then I just try to get as many wild charges off as I can. Now, in these kinds of battles, when I know there are some pretty good and pretty bad matchups, I do generally like to try to keep switch advantage. So that's kind of going to dictate what I do from here on out. I'm lucky that Snarl doesn't really do that much damage because it kind of gives me some leeway. If it did do more damage, then I probably would have actually shielded the first one just because then I couldn't afford to have Snarl chip away at me. And then maybe decide not to shield one later or something like that. So this is basically how the last game went too. You got 2 shields burnt, and then I got another wild charge. But the thing is, last time he wasn't able to get to another Dark Pulse here, so I had to make a decision like, okay, I didn't win the lead, but I'm not going to shield this because I probably want to save a shield, but what am I going to do now? So I decide to put in Entei because I know Fire Fang's going to do a good job of just chipping away that Darkrai, not giving it a shot to gain any more energy. And he switches to Suicune, and I switch to Giratina. He switches to Togekiss, that dang Togekiss that terrorized me last time. So thankfully I have Ancient Power basically ready. So like the very first battle when I won the lead, it was great because then he sent out Togekiss. I was able to use Entei right away. It was just smooth sailing. But this one, it doesn't line up quite so nicely. So here I go for another Ancient Power, which is great. He didn't have any shields at this point, so that Giratina Togekiss matchup is actually pretty good. Here, I wasn't sure what this was going to be, but that Suicune wasn't in that long, so I thought it would probably, it was a Bubble Beam. So my attack fell, and the switch clock isn't up yet, so what I'm doing is I'm just farming a bunch of energy. Shielding, because if it's an Ice Beam or something, that kind of fucks me over. Even if it's a Bubble Beam, I'd rather not lose any more HP on that Giratina. Switch clock is up, so then I switch to Entei. I don't expect to be able to hit this Suicune for much. I'm hoping that whatever this move is, hopefully not Hydro Pump, well it is a Hydro Pump, it doesn't totally knock me out. I'm pretty lucky there. So I'd go for that Overheat. You can see I kind of changed my mind at the end of it. Overheat does a lot more damage. But my attack falls, but I can afford that because I'm like almost dead. So Overheat actually hits for a lot. My attack falls, I don't care. And then as soon as Giratina comes back in, I can just hit that Dragon Claw. Now sometimes in this kind of situation, I would actually go for the Ancient Power just to be totally sure. And here, I actually think I should have because, okay, well, yeah, no, I should have just done like the one Ancient Power to totally knock him out, right? Because what if he had an Ice Beam ready or even a Bubble, like, I don't know. I knew that he didn't have Ice Beam because I already seen the moves, but anyways, it ended up fine because I had farmed up enough energy before. So that's the first game. I won. Feeling good about that. Now for the second one, it's always interesting like those mind games between the battles, right? So I thought maybe because I led Raikou, he's going to expect that again, and so then he's going to lead Torterra, and he does. So I'm glad that I actually switched to Entei. I know sometimes I like to stick with the same team, just to kind of like do whatever level of run game that is. But here I'm glad that this worked. So he farmed me a little with the Torterra, switch to Suicune, I switched to Raikou, and I'm feeling okay. Those bubble beams are pretty annoying, especially how quickly you can get to them with Snarl, but it's not the end of the world. I'll still be able to hit it pretty hard with a wild charge. Now the reason that I'm running Raikou with Thundershock and not Volt Switch here is that even though there are situations where I want to get that Volt Switch damage in, so like against Suicune or Togekiss, I really want to use Raikou mainly for energy generation to get some charge moves out. And a lot of the time that is the way that I use Raikou. I just don't like using slow, fast moves with something that's already pretty glassy. Because then there's so many times that you could be in the middle of a fast move and they get knocked out, and it's annoying. So here I'm just trying to wall charge him down. I know that if this is a Hydro Pump, I'm probably going to get knocked out, but I feel like I can afford that. Yeah, so I do. Go to Giratina. Thankfully he doesn't hit me with Bubble Beam there. That would have been kind of annoying, but again, I have to kind of keep in mind what's going on. So here it looks like there's no Togekiss at all, which is nice for me. So I know I can afford to use Entei here. Because like, even though Torterra still could be an issue, like the fact that the two things I have left are Entei and Giratina, and he's got a Torterra in the back, it just makes sense to make Focus Blast. Yeah, I think I lost count of the Snarls here, but I thought, like, basically no matter what, I have 2 shields. I need to shield Darkrai. Like, it's just such a glass cannon. Yeah, so I shielded again here, because I, of course, didn't do my homework, and I didn't check exactly how much Dark Pulse does to Entei, but I knew I could not risk it. I just could not. Well, I guess the Suicune is still alive, but I can't have very much health at this point. So he actually does send it in here, but I'm not too scared of it. Attack incoming. Now here, I do remember getting hit by a Hydro Pump not too long ago, so I think he probably only has enough energy for a Bubble Beam. So, I mean, I had no choice. I had to tank it because I don't have a shield or anything, but I wasn't too panicked about what to do. So my Flamethrower is going to be resisted and also do less damage than it's supposed to, but it still does enough. And now Torterra. Here, I kind of just try to do as much as I can with these Fire Fangs. I didn't think I'd be able to get to a Flamethrower, but again, I've got my Giratina in the back. And as you remember, I'd been sort of farming with it, not really though, but I can get to that Dragon Claw pretty quickly, and it's all good. Yeah, so that's game 2. So at this point, I've officially won the match, but still wanna do well for game 3, of course. So I'm not gonna get too wacky. I'm not gonna lead, I don't know, Tyranitar, Groudon, or something else on my team. I'm gonna stick with these 3. Let's see what I do. So here I do go back to Raikou lead, and I'm hoping I don't see Torterra again, but I do. Now, yeah, those Razor Leafs, they're not great for, okay, so here, basically my 2 choices were to switch to Giratina or switch to Entei, and I choose Entei just because I feel like the Giratina versus Darkrai matchup is just like, it's just too bad, and I don't know, maybe that wasn't the right choice, but, yeah, actually, I don't know. I think this was the right choice, because I do want to save Giratina potentially for Torterra, because I can still take care of it, so it's okay that I'm using Entei here. Entei is my best Torterra counter, but, oof, that Hydro Pump. Okay, so now then I put in Raikou, because now it doesn't have to worry about Torterra. This is going to be a Bubble Beam. So my Wild Charge isn't going to do as much as I'd like it to, but it's okay. But the thing is, his switch clock ran out, and just in time, I realized that, and I am able to tap on the Shadow Ball instead of the Wild Charge. Oh man, that would have been That would have been annoying if I ended up tapping Wild Charge. So now I switch to Giratina, and thankfully he'd been like switch locked, so I can just farm this down and hope for the best. Torterra does get things like Stone Edge and Earthquake, so it could actually hit me pretty hard, but I was pretty sure that he only had Sand Tomb and maybe Frenzy Plant. I think I actually only ever see Sand Tomb from him in these battles, so. Now there's a Darkrai. Thankfully, I think I built up 90 energy from farming down there, so that's enough for 2 Ancient Powers off the bat, which is great. And I get the boost. And so I looked at this later, and with the defense drop, Snarl does 8 or 10 instead of 8 to me. So, oh man, like almost 50% of the health. So I don't know if I would have been able to beat him. I think I would have. Yeah, I think I would have been able to still beat him without the boost. But it would have been tight, and I would have had to be really careful about if I choose Dragon Claw or Ancient Power. And sometimes those are tough calls to make, because even though Ancient Power is worse for DPE, sometimes you just need a harder hitting move because of however things line up. But here, with the boost, Ancient Power hits Darkrai for almost half of its health, so I'm in good shape. Yeah, I still have a shield. I know that there's a Suicune, and I'm boosted. Life is good. So my plan here is basically just see how much I can do now that I'm boosted. Looks like I'll be able to get to another Dragon Claw. Even after this Bubble Beam, I'll still have like a boosted attack, just 1 stage instead of 2. So that's not the end of the world. And yeah, I'm fine. So yeah, that's this is it. I'm glad I managed to win this time. I'm glad that my Entei pick worked out. Yeah, but I think he played really well, so these were some fun ones. Cool.